what is up? Welcome to BC Live, the Awesome Again edition. And if you want thrills, you want chills, you have come to the right place. We have so much coming up. We have awesome special guests. You've probably seen who they are if you've been following me on Twitter. But before we get to them, let's talk about my amazing co-hosts. Right over here, I've got Dan Tordjman of America's Best Racing. And down there, Bram Weinstein, who ESPN Radio, he's just building an empire now, and he's also the voice of the Washington football team. How awesome is that?
The Washington football team.
You know.
It's a day of awesome, by the way.
You know what? Actually, one day, the team I call the games for will be awesome again. That is a promise. That will happen.
There you go. So, guys, are you pumped or what?
I got to tell you this much, Ren. That was a way better open than anything I've been on with Dan in months. So you officially get that job for good. And Dan was like 2 minutes ago, like, hey, guess what? You're going to open the show. And you were like, what? Excuse me? And
I didn't know.
Turns out when the lights turn on, Ren goes, boom.
Well, you know, I like to be grace under fire. So I do also love that we are less than 2 minutes in the show and the clowning has already begun.
That's what I do here. You know, if you don't want me here, just tell me.
No,
that's all I do here.
This is why we pay you the big bucks. Come on.
Go Max and Improbable. Katie, take a side. I mean, like, it's obviously a 2-horse race. Take a side.
I pick a side. Have you guys?
Well, we can't pick against them, right?
Against either one of them?
Right, we can't pick against, but if you
are there any other choices?
I really want to highlight this comment. Yvonne, I don't know what's happening. The last 3 comments Yvonne has posted have come up as blank. I don't know if that's our fault or if that's Yvonne's fault, but try again.
I think it makes sense, really. You know, at the beginning of the show, just blank. Let's see. You know, like I'm here, but I'm not going to comment on anything you say until there's a reason to.
Reserving judgment.
I'm Team Yvonne. Hashtag Yvonne.
Reserving judgment. So look, we've got 3 Breeders' Cup Challenge Series races coming up. The Rodeo Drive Stakes is up next. Race 7, winning you're in for the Maker's Mark. Filly and Mare Turf.
That's right.
Then we've got the American Pharoah Stakes coming up. The TVG Juvenile presented by the TAA, winning you're in for that race. And then the big one, the Awesome Again Stakes. Ren, we have like the ultimate guests for this show, specifically because of Awesome Again.
Well, I mean, okay. You want Hall of Fame presence on this show apart from my 2 friends here that I already have alongside me? We've got Pat Day for you. Pat Day, who rode Awesome Again to triumph in the 1998 Breeders' Cup Classic. And later on in the show, we're going to have Jill Byrne. As you know, Patrick Byrne, her husband, trainer of Awesome Again. And so we're going to be able to take a look back, reflect, and get some insight on the horse behind the name.
Well, look, the next race we got, and we can show you the races today, which is pretty exciting. Yvonne, by the way, still firing away, and we can't see anything she's writing. It's a steady stream of nothingness. We love you, Yvonne. Keep trying.
Can we just make up what she's saying?
No, she has to type something, and I have a feeling she's just not. So
these little flashes you see are like one comment to the next.
Yeah. No, I mean, I'm really with her on this.
William's got something to say to you, Brian.
Oh, come on, man. Yeah, come on, man.
Very improbable.
No. Well, not this year. We're in the juvenile class right now. We're going to be trending up in the fall. Come talk to me next spring when things will be different for Yale Washington football team. Trust me on that.
Oh, you went yield on us. I love it.
Yeah.
Now I feel like I feel like doing a jig. So guys,
please do it.
Yeah.
Yvonne will comment if you do that.
Oh, I don't think y'all can handle that right now. So what are we thinking? We've got the Rodeo Drive coming up, and we have some other special guests coming along for the ride as well, right, Dan?
Yeah, we've got our boy Sean Alvarez will be on in a few minutes. Him and Bram could get into their usual shouting match. But at least this time, Bram sent in his picks.
Yeah, Bram,
for our ticket. Yeah.
Do you feel like you had your voice heard this time, or?
I do, but I mean, everything I picked was like, who's the favorite? I'll take that one. So that's where I landed on most of it. Actually, this is good news. Did you show our ticket yet? Have you there? It is.
Showing it right now.
Okay, all right. Here's the good news, because I did the cursory look through last night and felt like I want to be part of the team and actually send some picks in. And today I was planning on walking out here and saying, I like the 3 in this first leg of this with Prot, and he's
try again.
So
try again.
We're all better off that this has worked out the way it has, because I was going to be going up against the bet we were in like off the bat, because that was the one I came down on this afternoon. And I guess fortunately he's not racing today, so I don't have to go that way.
I told you guys before we hopped on live how sad I was that my play to get some, a little bit of size on this ticket was the 4 horse in the very last leg of the pick 5, Alexander's Dream. I thought the horse made so much sense switching to turf, and he's out.
Well, my horse
had hardcore on Mucho Unusual. There was like
I do like Mucho Unusual. I do.
About I can't have this ticket unless Mucho Unusual is in it. So
that's my top pick for this race. That's my top pick for this race is Mucho Unusual.
So that's the consensus. Just so people know, as you're looking at this ticket, it's a combination of input between the 3 of us, plus Ellis Starr from Equibase, who will also be joining us, plus Jose Contreras from TVG, who will also be joining us, plus Sean Alvarez, who's the guru and the wizard who helped us cash the first time we did this for $3,500. So with the combined input, the only horse that was off this ticket was Mucho Unusual. And then we figured whatever, for an extra 36 extra dollars, you got to throw him in. Or throw her in. So we have Mucho Unusual in. The favorite, though, as you can see there, heavy favorite, the 6, Lady Prancelot, 4-5.
Who by the way is a Breeders' Cup Future Stars Friday grad. She did not show up that day because she had some trouble in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies turf. But look at her now.
Yeah, no, so you want to make the case for her? I mean, she's 4-5. I mean, obviously
I mean, you definitely have to use her. I mean, this horse shows up basically every time, so long as there hasn't been, a major issue. But the thing is, the price is too short for me on her. She makes a lot of sense, but the whole reason, if you like her, if you take a look back at Mucho Unusual, you'll see that she's tried the distance here of the 1.25 miles on one occasion. When was it? December 28th in the American Oaks, and she came within a half-length second of the aforementioned Lady Prancelot. I think when you look at the configuration that they're going to have to go around, which basically looks like 2.5 turns, I just like this pedigree better for this situation. And we've seen Mucho Unusual show a lot of talents already. Here she's coming out of a 1 mile race, and again, now stretching out to the 1.25 miles. She's by Breeders' Cup Classic champion Mucho Macho Man, and she's out of Not Unusual by Unusual Heat, who we know just how beloved Unusual Heat is by the Hour Box and in the California racing scene. Let's also remember he himself is a son of Nureyev, so it's great pedigree, especially for what she's going to be, again, asked to do today. I'll also say this, because I thought this was really interesting. She's a half-sister to Grade 3 winner, Grade 1 place, Big Score. This mare here, Not Unusual, she had only been bred to that horse's sire, I believe, until being bred to Mucho Macho Man. And the fact that she'd already produced a horse that had talent like that, with a very under the radar stud, tells me this mare has a lot of the genetic goods, and it makes sense because she tails to Cosma. Cosma is the dam of Halo. Cosma is also a half-sister to Natalma, who's the dam of Northern Dancer. So this filly is stacked with pedigree. I just think she's going to excel today, and because based upon what we've already seen, her due on track, again, the running lines with Lady Prancelot, and now getting this nice 1.25 mile distance.
Right, let me tell you who else has some genetic goods. That's Sean Alvarez. Sitting in the green room right now. Before we bring him in, just want to mention the Rodeo Drive Stakes. What's at stake? You see it on your screen right there. Automatic entry into the Maker's Mark Breeders' Cup Filly and Mare Turf on November 7th. Entries paid, award to nominator, travel allowance, all the good stuff from the Breeders' Cup. So a lot at stake here. The Rodeo Drive Stakes. Let's dig into it a little bit more with our man, Sean. What's up, brother?
Not much. Just happy to be here. How you guys doing?
Good. I'm a little disappointed you're not wearing a hat because he keeps calling you the wizard, and I just.
You know what? I saw Bram and Dan have one on, and I almost threw one on, but my camera's kind of above me. I don't know if that would work too well.
You have better hair than both of us. You don't really need one. So you have better hair than me, at least. Bram, I can't speak for you. You got decent hair, so you got a good. Yeah, you got plenty up there.
Come on, man. Come on.
You got plenty. Sean, just to give you a heads up, we have Pat Day is going to be coming up shortly. I know last time we had you on, we had you waiting for about an hour.
Yeah.
We let you get in about 3 sentences. So I want you to just briefly get into some of your logic here in building this ticket for us, because I already said you're the guru. You built the ticket for us. Who you used in this first leg and why we think we're going to advance to the second leg.
So first and foremost, I was listening to the show a little bit earlier. Bodicita was on our ticket until she scratched. Right. So Bram doesn't freak out too much that we're going to try and beat Bodicita. With Bodicita in the race, I really thought that the one Tonahutu could have really a pace advantage in this race from a speed play out. I really didn't see anybody that would want to go with this horse, especially with Bodicita kind of sitting that stalking trip. I don't know that they're, jockeys read the form as well. So now with Bodicita out, I think someone's going to try something. But the way the turf has been playing at Santa Anita yesterday and even this morning into this afternoon, I really felt like having a horse that is going to be comfortable on the lead, maybe even loose, would be something that we could kind of lean on there.
A bit of ground at the end to run second in the John C. Maybe. I think that the stretch out and distance.
I hear Michelle you
going to work in her favor here.
Yeah, let me turn that off. There we go. Hold on. All right.
And then in the next. Oh, sorry. Do you want me to go down the ticket?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead. I could even full screen you if you want.
Like that. No, let's not do that. Got 3 sentences in, and Dan interrupted her with noise from somewhere else.
Sean, you're full screen. Take it away.
In the next race, Spielberg obviously kind of looks like the horse to beat. Has the kind of similar running lines to, hate to say it, but back to American Pharoah. I love when Baffert has a horse that hasn't broken through the maiden ranks yet and jumps right into a grade 1 Del Mar Futurity. And now today running at Santa Anita in a graded stakes race. I love those angles, but been shipping all over the country and winning. So I felt like the 4 wasn't a horse that we could leave off the ticket there. And then the other interesting thing, especially on a horizontal kind of ticket wagering strategy, these 2-year-old horses kind of evolve into their, into themselves and what they could be at different times of the year. So you might have a Baffert horse, all signs pointing to, running well, got the certain 2-year-olds can jump up at different times. So I felt like it was great to be spread there.
Okay.
Dan also did that on
Hey, Nina.
Oh, hey, Dan. Oh, hey.
What's up?
Slide into Dan's DMs, Nina. Hey.
Stop it.
You know what?
Yeah, Sean. So I don't know what's up. We got bugs. I mean, there's like this stream is acting all wacky on us. So I don't know what's going on, but we got most of that. We got most of it. Let's do this. Let's bring it back to this race briefly because I want to get Bram in on this for some input. I know like he liked Bodicita. Bram, what's the rest of your feelings on this Rodeo Drive?
I mean, obviously, I like Lady Prance a lot now without Bodicita in the race, but I don't like the price. So, obviously, I'm kind of rooting in a different direction. I'll probably be betting in a different direction. I like Tonahutu a lot now that Bodicita is out of the race. I agree with Sean on that. Been very strong since he went to Doug O'Neill's farm. Probably be in the first tier. Can she hold? I don't know, but I like her. I like her there. And the one that's kind of just sticking out to me, I don't know, there's something about Mike Smith on a 12-1 horse that feels very exotic-y to me that I don't think that horse wins pretty point, but I'd probably be in the bet. And the other one that's got a number, I don't know where Catch the Eye is at now, but I kind of like Espinoza on Catch the Eye. I think there's a shot there. So I'm rooting for that one for our ticket's sake.
Yep.
That's the miracle that comes in at the end here and pulls this off. I think Lady Prancelot's beatable here. Certainly not the right number for me. But if I'm going to go a different direction, and I will, 1 or 7 is where I'm going to end up by the time this thing goes off.
I like it. I actually Catch the Eye was my top pick here. And I was on the radio show with you, Bram, and I told you that this one in particular, like she hasn't been winning much, but she seems to be getting better with each start. In the last race, the John C. Maybe, she sat second to last for pretty much the entire race. There was a horse that was loose up front, had it easy. And then when she finally got asked, catch the eye, she made up a ton of ground. She finished within a length and a half of the winner, that horse who was just loose on the lead. Lady Prancelot did finish ahead of her, but if you watch the gallop out in that race, and again, some people aren't too high in the gallop out. I can find winners on a gallop out, especially in a race where, here we're talking about 1.25 miles on the turf. Who's going to want to go this distance? I think Catch the Eye on the gallop out looked incredible. Galloped out ahead of both of them, the winner and Lady Prancelot. She made the same sort of similar late kick, 2 back. I don't know about the speed in this race. As Sean mentioned, I mean, there may not be a whole lot of speed. So, I don't know if we just see a replete of Catch the Eye kind of making that late move and then just finishing second or third again. But yeah, I think she does get a big upgrade in jockey too. You're going from JC Diaz to Victor Espinoza, as you said, Bram. So I think all those.
Yeah, I think like that one is a clear goes on your exotic bets, and I love her to hit the board at least, and then if she steals it, you cash in. So that's probably the direction I go. But I'm leaning more towards the 1 as a winner. But Catch the Eyes on my tickets for sure.
I think we got the horses in the paddock now. We could show you. There they are. Sean, since you always get buried on the bottom, I'm moving you up here.
Oh, player, 14-1. Me like that would now I'm like even more so like leaning towards Catch the Eye at this point.
Yeah, 14-1. Look at that pick 5 pool, $430,000 in the pick 5. Give you another look at our ticket there. Starts right here in race 7. We're 1-4-6-7 to kick it off. We've got the favorite, Lady Prancelot, your second choice, 7-2, Mucho Unusual. We have left off Maxim Rate. Are we making a mistake here, Ren, by leaving off the 2 Maxim Rate?
I'm going to say no.
No.
Say no.
No.
I mean, well, though Simon Callahan is such a great trainer, though. He really is. And he's really good at placing his horses. I feel it sounds dismissive, and I don't want to sound that way. I think it's just a matter of I really did look at this race, and if I felt that there was a reason I have to have this horse on the ticket, I would have found that incentivizing reason. The other ones just spoke to me so much more. But certainly, it is horse racing. Anything can happen. Again, Simon Callahan is such a superb trainer.
We've got a new shooter in. Ellis Starr from Equibase, the Uber capper. What's going on, Ellis? Oh, audio again. Audio, we don't hear you.
Forgot my mute button. Mute button. I was ready to be muted. Sorry. Howdy. Hello, everybody.
Hey.
Hey, Alice.
Ellis, just as you come in, we've got another legend in the waiting room right now, just joined. We're going to bring him in too. We've got enough time here where I think we can pull the screen down for the race. We'll come back to watch the Rodeo Drive. So hang with us if you're waiting to watch that race. But I can't make this man wait. The man that has just joined us here, it's none other than Pat Day.
Hi, Pat.
Good afternoon. How you folks doing today?
Pat.
Great, Pat.
Doing well. Thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, thank you for having me on. This is special. It's always fun to walk down memory lane.
Well, it's especially fun to walk down memory lane with a 4-time Eclipse champion jockey, inducted into the Hall of Fame, a 12-time Breeders' Cup champion, 4 of those in the Classic, including with Awesome Again. Can you just tell us, just kick it off with that horse? I mean, in fact, actually, before I give props to him, I should say you won the inaugural Breeders' Cup Classic with Wild Again, and I know you credit kind of your career really taking off with that win.
Well, it did. There was a couple of things that happened in '84 that really set my career on the right trajectory. First and foremost, I came to Christ in January of '84, got set free from a lifestyle of drugs and alcohol and sordid living, got focused and recognized that God had blessed me with tremendous talent and ability, and I had a responsibility to do the best that I could with that. That gave me a newfound reason to pursue my career and do it clear-mindedly and to the best of my ability. The Bible says, do all that you do with all of your heart. And that became my focus. And then, of course, securing the mount on Wild again in the inaugural Breeders' Cup, and then having him run the race that he did, showing such courage in the test in the stretch run against Slew of Gold and Gate Dancer to eke out a very narrow victory. It really catapulted my career to the next level. And after that, I started receiving opportunities to ride in major races all over the country. And not just to ride in races, but to ride good horses in those races. And, that's the key to your success. You got to be on the stock. And I started getting on Cadillacs and Volkswagen races, and we were able to have an illustrious career.
Well, Pat, let's take a look back for those whose memory isn't as vivid about what happened in 1984 at the Breeders' Cup. Let's take a quick look back.
They're in the gate, and they're off in the Breeders' Cup Classic. He's in full stride now, and he swings wide for the final quarter mile. On the inside, Wild again is game, and he's holding on to the lead by a head. Slew of Gold is right at his neck. Here comes Gate Dancer on the outside. Wild again, desperately holding on to the lead. Slew of Gold is right there in between horses. Gate Dancer on the outside. What a finish. Wild again. Gate Dancer, Slew of Gold in between them. Those three in a dramatic finish. And here's the wire. Wild again does it. I believe it was Wild again, an upset winner.
Pat Day, give us that cheer again.
Hallelujah. Hello, Mom and Dad and everybody else out there.
I love it.
That was amazing. Could you still pull together one of those
Years later.
That,
Woof, woof.
Fun. Man. I've never been on a horse before since it tried any harder than Wild again did that afternoon. And he just laid it all on the line. His connections had to put up $360,000 to make him eligible to run against an all-star field. Gate Dancer, Slew of Gold, Desert Wine, Precisionist. It was deep. It wasn't a large field, but it was deep with quality. And he just ran the race of his life and gave it all to me and got to victory. And I was excited, to say the least.
Let me just ask one quick question. A lot of times when we speak to people, they ask us, does the jockey really make a difference in a race?
Yes, Dan.
They always ask that, though. They're like, but look, at the upper levels, right? Like at the upper levels, you've got, so many good jockeys. Does it make a difference? What, in a situation like that, Pat, what makes the difference? If you can explain it in layman's terms, like any one of those three horses, on any given day could have won that race. And they were all, seemingly, they all had a shot, pretty late. What do you think makes the difference in a race like that? And what made the difference for you in that specific spot?
Well, I think that for me, and not to honk my own horn, but I think I'm the only rider in the world that could have won on Wild again that day. I sensed in my heart that he was giving me everything he had. Was I tempted to go to the whip to ask for more? It crossed my mind, but every time he hit the ground, he grunted like it was like the line when the ball is snapped in a football game, when they got the microphone down there close to the field and you can hear the lineman go, before they hit the opposition. He was at every jump. When Slew of Gold run to him at the top of the stretch, he just looked at him and said, "Not today." He ran the last quarter of a mile in sheer guts and determination, refused to get beat. And I sensed that. I felt that. I thought, not that I said, okay, what do I do here? But I just sensed the best thing that I could do in that situation was just to help it. And, if you've seen the head on, he was wanting to bear out. His left front foot kind of turned in. He towed in just a bit, which caused him to want to drift. And I was working hard to keep him running, hold him in. and he was giving me 110%. And I think that in that particular case, I think my effort equated to the victory. Now, I've won a lot of other races where I think I was basically a passenger. You know, when you're on a horse 10 lengths the best, I don't know that the rider brings that much to the table. But obviously, in a race of this magnitude and this close a finish, I think the rider brings a lot to the table.
Hey Pat, can I ask you something about the Preakness, which is obviously next week?
Bram, just a heads up. I'm gonna put this screen up here just so the viewers can watch the Rodeo Drive, which has now started. We're midway through the race
here before we ask you. I wanted to ask a question about the Preakness, but let's wait. Want to get through the race?
Yeah, let's do that. You got Pat. You're back in the center of the screen here. Mucho Unusual on the lead. Tonahutu looks like she's about all in right now. Maxim Rate making a charge 3 wide. Mucho Unusual looks okay on the lead right now. They turn for home. Maxim Rate looks to be the only threat at this point.
In case you missed it, Mutual Unusual got a 49 and change half, and I think that was sensationally slow for this level.
The Rodeo Drive.
All right, Dan, I personally apologize to you for telling you that it was ridiculous how much you won Mutual Unusual on our ticket, and I'm glad you forced the issue. Thank you, Dan.
There we go. It all made sense. Go ahead, Bram. Your question. Sorry for interrupting.
So we have the Preakness next week, Pat. Obviously, weird upside down year, but we have it. And I have you from the mid 80s to the late 90s. You either finished first or second in that race 9 times. You won it 5 times. Success in Baltimore, Pimlico on that day. What does it mean to you, and what does it take to win the Preakness?
You know, you got to be on the stock, bottom line. And I think that I was on horses that, for whatever reason, maybe didn't perform to the best of their ability in the Derby, and they peaked 2 weeks later. They really came to hand 2 weeks later in the Preakness and got the trip they needed. I know a couple of those. Summer Squall, you know, ran second in the Derby, got beat by Unbridled. I learned a little something about him that day and came back and beat Unbridled in the Preakness pretty handily. Louis Couture just didn't fire in the Derby. Nick went over him with the fine-tooth comb after the race and couldn't find any reason for a poor performance. He trained well up to the Preakness, and subsequently, you know, he'd come away from the gate running, and well, it had been a track record until they went back and with modern technology discovered that Secretariat actually ran faster than Louis Couture. Timber Country, you know, he ran third in the Derby, but was really coming to hand, and then subsequently, you know, just ran lights out in the Preakness. Tank's Prospect, my first victory in that race. That was the first time I'd had a chance to ride him, and just a big, strong colt that took some pretty good riding to get up to beat Chief's Crown in the shadow of the wire. I don't know why I was so fortunate in Maryland and not so fortunate in Kentucky 2 weeks earlier, but such is racing.
Well, you did get little ET to the winner's circle in the Derby. But, you know, I just found something very interesting that you said about going up against Unbridled, because you'd later win the Breeders' Cup Classic aboard Unbridled. Do you learn something about the horse, having competed against them, that helps you when you finally take up the reins?
Well, I had ridden Unbridled earlier in the year.
Oh, that's right. You had, yes.
Youth, and then won the Florida Derby on him.
That's right.
Then, the option between him and Summer Squall, and subsequently chose Summer Squall. We beat Unbridled in the Bluegrass, and then he beat us in the Derby, and I come back and beat him in the Preakness. And then as the year went on, I wasn't able to get back on Unbridled until the Breeders' Cup, and was very happy to get the mount on him that day. That day in New York, of course, I think he broke off in the 14 hole. If you know where the starting gate sets are at Belmont for 1.25 miles, you're kind of up against it. But his running style, it played perfect, because he came from way out of it. As the field broke, I was able to just angle right directly to the fence and stayed there, and and he come home running, got the trip that he needed, and finished up strong and got the money.
Well, you know, we can't talk about the Preakness without talking about one of the most, legendary races to ever been thrown down there at Pimlico.
You don't want to. I know where you're going.
I have to. What is it like? I mean, my gosh, I'm just sitting there watching it. You know, all these years later, it's still a matter of your heart still races as if you're still watching it for the first time. It's unbelievable the heart and guts that both Easy Goer and Sunday Silence showed that day.
Well, they both of them really put it on the line, you know, and I've got if I had a do-over in my 40,000 races, if I had a do-over, that would be the one. I would ride that race a little bit different, and I think the outcome would have been different. And I've been, very vocal about that. Easy Goer was, in my opinion, the best horse I was ever privileged to ride, and I rode some really good horses in the course of my career. But that day he was really fresh. He didn't run much in the Derby, and came into the Preakness very fresh. Kind of jumped in the air, leaving there, then jumped into the bridle into the first turn. Was wanting to run. I mean, he was wanting to get into the race. And so when I was riding behind Sunday Silence, and when we turned up the backside, he kept chomping on a bit like he was wanting to go. And so I pulled out and I said, let me just give him his head, let him range up here, kind of stretch his legs, and maybe he'll settle in. And when I did, well, he run up alongside of Sunday Silence, and P-Val, being the race rider that he is, he seen it was me, and so he said, well, I'm gonna drift him out a little bit. And when that happened, that's where I made my mistake, because obviously Sunday Silence was the horse to beat. If he took me 20 wide, he's got to be 19 wide, right? And but anyway, where I made my mistake was I said, no, I'm not gonna let him float me out today. I'm gonna run up here and just hold my position. And so as I started to get the advantage on Sunday Silence, P-Val said, oh no, I got to, so I don't know how fast we went between the 3/4 pole and the half-mile pole, but we were running. I finally got the advantage on him and eased him back down in. Then he wound up on Houston's heels as we got into the turn. Houston didn't change leads and drop in, and so Sunday Silence had to check. Pat had to check on Sunday Silence. My momentum carried me on up and past him. As we got into the turn, I was easing on past Houston. I knew Sunday Silence would come back to me. Would be back in the race, but I just didn't expect him to recover so quickly. And the next thing I know, he's on top of me. And now P-Val has got the advantage, and he pushed me down into the fence and held me in there tight, and just doing an excellent job. And when we come off the turn, Easy Goer had never been in that position before, and so he was just a little bit not skittish, but just kind of looking at Sunday Silence. He finally changed leads late, about the 8th hole. He changed off his inside lead. When he did, he kicked ahead of Sunday Silence, and I thought we were just going to go right on and get the money. And about that time, his legs he was done. He'd laid it all on the line. His legs were limber, and he was trying, but he was out. And at that point, I could tell we weren't going to maintain our advantage to the wire. Sunday Silence was going to get me in. So I said, well, I knew there'd been some jostling back and forth, and so I'm gonna try to initiate something here. I thought if I turned his head out, maybe we would come out and brush with Sunday Silence, and I would maintain the advantage, and then I would take it up with the stewards after the race. But he was trying so hard. When I turned him, his head turned out, but his body didn't follow. Oh. And in the race, Dave Johnson said, and it's Sunday Silence. It's Easy Goer trying to savage Sunday Silence. He wasn't trying to savage him. I was turning his head out. It was to no avail. Sunday Silence beat us on the money, but I go back and I reride that race, and I think, man, if I'd have just, when P-Val started carrying me out, just let him carry me out there. The way I think it would have played out, I think he'd have packed me out to the middle of the racetrack at the half-mile pole. He'd have dropped off and accelerated around the turn as he does. And I would have got up ahead of steam coming off the corner and into the stretch, and I think the outcome would have been the same as it was in the Belmont. But if that's a big word.
Did you have any idea? I mean, did you have any idea that was going to become such a race for the ages, and that the fact again that here we are in 2020 and we're still talking about it as being one of the best showdowns ever?
Well, I don't think that I knew that at the time. I was just, well, as you noticed just now, I'm still chastising myself over the ride. I'm disappointed in my effort, and I feel that it cost Sunday's Easy Goer the victory. And yeah, it's a great race. I mean, I've watched it numerous times since then, and I've tried to put myself not in the saddle, but just as a spectator. Tremendous race. Yeah, that's what horse racing is all about. I loved everything but the official order of finish.
And speaking of that, an official order of finish, and just speaking about race riding and that sort of thing, obviously I haven't spoken to you, since this has happened. I don't think any of us have, and maybe people would be interested in knowing what was your take when you were watching the Kentucky Derby last year and you saw that DQ. What did you think? Was that the right call or not?
Oh. Obviously we've all had an advantage that the stewards didn't have at the time. I've seen a jillion different angles that they didn't have available to them under the circumstances. I don't know that they had any option. The horse came out, created havoc, but going back and looking at it later, the horse that forgive me, I'm not recalling the name.
War of Will, the one behind War of Will, or Maximum Security. Yeah.
I really think that he was the culprit.
Mm-hmm.
Gapione his horse was in the bridle looking for racing room. He started to come out around that horse, was right up on his heels. I seen one video that in slow motion, and his left front leg was behind that horse's back legs at one point. And really what happened, and you could see it in slow motion. Forgive me, I'm pulling a blank. What was the horse's name that won they got disqualified?
Maximum Security.
Maximum Security.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He was on his left lead.
Mm-hmm.
The other colt hit him, and you can see it in slow motion. He's in the air. He's in his left lead. That horse hits him in behind, and when he comes down, he's on his right lead.
Mm-hmm.
And in my opinion, it's like driving down the interstate 60 miles an hour and you have a blowout. Your car jerks. It's difficult for a horse to navigate the turn on your right lead. And when you swap leads from your left to your right in the middle of the turn or the break of the turn like that, you're going to come out. Mm-hmm. And the boy grabbed him and almost overcorrected. As you know, Johnny Velasquez run up on the fence.
Right.
and he overcorrected to the point when he jerked him back in there. It put Johnny right up on the fence.
Yep.
So after the fact and looking all of that, I believe it was that horse was the one that caused it. But like I said, at the time, the views that the stewards had, it didn't give them that luxury. And given what they could see at the time, I think they made the only call possible.
Yep.
This was really
all those eyes on it.
How often do you get to speak to a Hall of Fame jockey? I mean, over 40,000 races ridden, almost 9,000 victories. It's insane. I mean, you rode, we already went over some of the big names. You also rode Lady Secret. I mean, it's unbelievable. And I mean, we've got Maximum Security today in the Awesome Again Stakes, the namesake race. And, the horse himself, that 1998.
You're breaking up, and I'm not.
Sorry. Was I breaking up for everybody?
I heard you. It might have been. I think you're good now. Do you hear her now, Pat?
I was saying all great things. I was saying all great things about just how amazing it is to get insight from a Hall of Fame jockey about this sort of thing. And
I'm sorry. I can't
am I still breaking up?
You try. You try, Dan.
Pat, do you hear me any better?
Very good. You're coming in clear. It was just
okay, that's interesting.
It was comparable to a 45 playing on 33. Oh no, I'm dating myself.
That was good. Well, let's do this. We made you relive one of your tougher racing memories. We've hit you with a couple of tough questions. So let's relive a happy memory. I'm going to play another video for you. Take a look at this, and I want to hear from you on the other side.
Ready for the start, and they're off in the Breeders' Cup Classic. Here comes Silver Charm. Silver Charm coming with a bold rally on the far outside. Skip right toward the inside, and Swain is coming with his rally. And farther back it is Awesome Again. Victory Gallop is gathering momentum. 1 furlong to go. Coronado's press. Silver Charm and Swain, the three of them. Not today for Skip Away. Victory Gallop continues to close. Silver Charm short lead. Here comes Awesome Again, who's flying in between horses. A wild finish to the Classic. Awesome Again has won! And there is your race winner, Pat Day, with Awesome Again, coming from well off the pace today.
How awesome is that?
Oh, yeah. I like that one. Yeah, that was decided.
That field.
That was great. That was great. He was undefeated that year. I didn't get to ride him in his first start. I picked him up in the Stephen Foster. We beat Silver Charm, and then we come back and we won. I think it was a Whitney at Saratoga, and then come back in the Saratoga Breeders' Cup or something, and then the Hollywood Gold Cup, and then the Classic here at Churchill. And the race broke right for us that afternoon. He ran a brilliant race, and of course when Swain kind of drifted to the outside and Silver Charm followed him, it opened up a hole that you could drive a Mack truck through, and Awesome Again fired big and got the money.
I mean, that field is one of the deepest fields we've seen in the Classic, and Awesome Again's running style was a little bit different that day. Was that planned, or were you just going spontaneously regarding how everything shaped out of the gate?
My strong suit was just being an intuitive rider. I wasn't a smart rider. I didn't try to figure out how everything was going to go. I tried to be a good passenger, tried to ride the race the way it came up and intuitively. I think God gifted me with the ability to sense what my horse wanted, what he needed at that whatever juncture, whatever point in the race, and then to call on them when the time was right to get the job done. I was a bit surprised to find myself so far back. I knew there was some pace in the race, some speed. He'd been rather close to the pace in these earlier races, but that afternoon he settled back there and picked him up when the time was right. As I said, when we come off the turn, and him and Victory Gallop were kind of moving as a team, and fortunately for us, the field spread that opened up in front of us, and we both came home running. I just finished up faster than Victory Gallop and Silver Charm.
And now you both have races named after you. What is that like?
Oh, what a I'm so blessed. I'm so blessed. When Mr. Flannery called me and he said, Pat, he said, they changed the Derby trial has sort of lost its place. It was a major prep race years ago, but it's just kind of gotten lost in the shadows, and we're thinking of moving that to Derby Day and renaming it the Pat Day Mile. And he said, if that's all right with you. And I'm like, it's all right with me. No, tremendously blessed, honored that they would choose to name a race after me, and then have it on the Derby undercard. Very, very special. Just another one of the highlights of my life, of my career, and just another reason to be grateful.
Before we let Pat go, and we know he's got other plans on a Saturday night, we've got some more racing action coming up from Santa Anita. I did want to give an opportunity to Sean and or Ellis. If you did have a question, obviously, guys, feel free to hop in. Not every day we get Pat Day with us on the live stream. So, gentlemen, either one of you, if you'd like.
Well, I'll go. Hey, Pat, first of all, thanks so much for making the time for all of us and all the fans out there today. You know, watching that race, not the one that, not easy going Sunday songs, watching Wild again winning the Breeders' Cup, it reminds me of your ability to sense a horse's willingness to engage and let him look his foe in the eye and do the job. And as you said, just be a passenger. Can you recall a couple other horses like that in your career that were that way, that basically they just kicked in and didn't want another horse to go by them at the end?
I've never been on a horse before since Wild again that tried any harder than he did. You know, I've obviously right off the top of my head, I can't remember of others that, you know, that fought that hard right to the wire like he did and was such an underdog going in. But as far as the intuitiveness, you know, I rode a horse called Menifee. He finished second in the Derby, but he won the Bluegrass. And I had ridden him 3 or 4 times. I knew his running style. The Bluegrass, he broke. He was third on the outside in a nice, comfortable stalking position. Made his way up the backside. All of a sudden at the half-mile pole, I didn't have any horse. I mean, he just basically just spit the bit out. And you folks know what that means in racing terms. All of a sudden, I just didn't have anything. And so I moved my hands on him and you know, I kissed at him a little bit to see if I could talk him back into it. And I got no response. Now, I don't know why I was comfortable at that point to not go ahead and press the issue to hold my position. Just God-given talent. I was completely content to go ahead and let him drop back. My dear friend Jerry Bailey, who I think is probably one of the smartest, strongest riders that I rode against on a regular basis, he was right in behind me. And when he seen me do that, he said, "Oh, he's done." And so he pulled out and he went on past me. Now, instead of third, I'm fourth. And then another horse went by me and I'm fifth. And now, you know, the leaders had gotten away from me. I'm in about the three or four path. So I just angled to the fence. That's about the 3/8 pole. It was clear, obviously, and I angled to the fence. And as he got down close to the fence, he started picking up the bit. Come the 5/16 pole, he's back up underneath of me and running. Now I cut the corner. I run up behind the horses that I've been next to down the backside, eased out behind them and come down the middle of the racetrack and won. And I can't tell you why I felt comfortable in doing that. I was just comfortable. I was confident. I was secure in doing that. And I'll never forget when I come back in the jock's room and Jerry looked at me and he said, "I thought you were out of horse." I thought I was too. I didn't have any answer for that. You know, it just, yeah, I was tailor-made to be a jockey. God blessed me with tremendous talent and ability and opportunities. And it's just been a great life. Tremendously blessed to be led into the great sport of horse racing, have the success that we did. And now on the heels of that, to be involved with ministry work on the racetrack and at large, going about just telling people about the awesome love of God that's available through belief on our Lord Jesus Christ. And I got to tell you, folks, at the end of the day, my involvement with the ministry, as much as I enjoyed my racing career, and I did, I thoroughly loved it. I didn't go to work for 32 years. That was my hobby, and I was able to make a living at it. But my involvement with the ministry work today, at the end of the day, is decidedly more rewarding and fulfilling for me personally than the incredibly successful racing career. I look back now and I realize that my racing career is just for this exact purpose. It's given me a platform. It's given me an opportunity to get in front of people. It's given me an audience, if you would, from which to promote the cause of Christ. And I'm blessed, tremendously blessed.
Well, thank you for blessing us with your presence. This has been amazing to take a look back with the person who was actually in the irons for some amazing journeys in horse racing.
Thank you, Pat. We appreciate your time.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Right.
You know, like I said early on, it's great to go down memory lane, to re-ride some of these races and recall the joy of participating, and of course the joy of victory. You know, most of these we talk about the joy of victory. I remember that old ABC. Was it an ABC?
Yes, I remember. Yeah.
Wild World of Sports.
Yes, in the agony of defeat.
Yep.
Yeah, the agony of defeat. Well, most of this has been the thrill of victory.
The thrill of victory.
But it's been a joy to be on with you folks, and thank you so much for the opportunity. God bless you. Have a great evening.
God bless you, Pat. Thank you so much.
You too. Thank you, sir. Appreciate you.
Bye now.
Bye.
That was awesome.
It was awesome. Except Dan, you're doing. It's almost like the Blam Zenyatta thing. You know, you gotta bring up something that's horrible, right?
Ren brought that up, didn't she?
How do you not have Pat say on and not bring up Easy Go or Sunday Silence and the Preakness when the Preakness is next Saturday? How do you not? You have to.
Wow, Dan. What's your answer?
How did I get blamed for that?
It's my fault.
Oh, it's Ren's fault. Sorry.
Well, you were behind the Zenyatta video.
Damn.
It's Easy Goer. It's Easy Goer. That's like
Ren is mad.
Dan and Bram know because they've been on with me multiple times. How many times have I told you like Easy Goer's in my top my top 5 list of horses?
Dan, how many times has she told you that?
Often enough.
Yeah.
I will. Let me say this: we've got we've got racing coming up. We've got 5 minutes until the American Pharoah Stakes. I want to dig into it a little bit. We do have a guest in the green room who's been waiting patiently to join in. He's actually a trainer out in California, so I would love to get his take on a race like this, specifically a 2-year-old race where you have horses that are developing and horses targeting the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, of course. Want to welcome in my good friend. Let's see if we can get him up there. Where are you, Mike? Mike, do you hear us? Might be muted. Mike?
See him.
Yeah, I see him too. I think he's muted though. You there, Mike?
There he is.
I don't hear him, but I see. There we go.
I guess I had mute. I'm learning, even though I'm young.
Mike Wilson joining us from California, has returned to racing after a 5-year hiatus, is now back training horses in California. Excited to have him back. Excited to have him on the show. Mike, how you doing this Saturday?
It's a fantastic Saturday, so I couldn't be doing any better. I mean, I'm in the office in the barn, so I can be maskless. Otherwise, I'd have to be over by the rail trying to watch these races, and you wouldn't see my face. But no, it's an amazing day of racing. It's fun to watch from even from the barn.
Very cool. We've been doing a video series with Mike, training with Mike Wilson. Check that out at americasbestracing.net. Lots of great videos where Mike takes us into the barn and shows us some of his horses and also explains some of the methods and some of the approaches to training horses. I've learned a lot just watching the series. Ren, I feel like you should set this up a little bit. I want to talk about 2-year-olds in particular.
Yeah.
Talk about a couple of the horses who've caught your eye in the American Pharoah Stakes, and then I want to go back to Mike for some of his takes on this race and in general.
Well, because the minutes are counting down, I'll try to keep it brief. The American Pharoah, named for, of course, the first horse to win the Triple Crown in 37 years, and then became the first Triple Crown champion with an opportunity to run in the Breeders' Cup and made it count, winning the Breeders' Cup Classic. So this was the front runner, now the American Pharoah, mile 16th. So here's the thing. I like notable exception here because, you know, the horse, we see that he debuted on synthetic over there at Arlington Park. He blew that field out. It was not a tough field. So let's not, you know, pretend that it was. But that being said, the horse showed a lot of talent. He's by Street Sense. Street Sense won the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, went on to win the Kentucky Derby, the first horse to ever get that double. And then he's out of an AP Indy mare. So we're looking at dirt pedigree there. AP Indy, of course, won the Breeders' Cup Classic in 92. This horse has got tremendous pedigree. And here's the thing. You see that last work was a 59-4 work bullet at Keeneland. This horse could have stayed in Kentucky and targeted perhaps the Claiborne Breeders' Fraternity. Yet here we see him in California contesting this spot, which might be a softer position for him. He's got a really nice pedigree beyond what I already told you. I just think he makes a ton of sense here. Of course, Spielberg stretching out makes a lot of sense too, being a son of Union Rags. And he's done admirably in both his starts. But of course, what is the price right now on him? 4 to 5. I can't take
4 to 5. Yep.
I can't take it. Then the horse on the outside, Wasprin. I think this horse makes a lot of sense as well. Another son of Union Rags. Blinkers are going on. He's out of Life is Sweet. She won the Breeders' Cup Distaff. She is also a full sister to a Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies winner in Sweet Catamine. There you go.
All right. Mike, have you taken a look at this field? Have you seen any of these horses in the morning? What's your sense for the runners in this field, if any? And obviously you could add some color by talking about what it feels like if to have a horse in a race like this with a chance to go to the Breeders' Cup.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's I actually mistake Spielberg. Sometimes I joke around with a lot of the riders in the morning. And so I ran into Baffert's one of his riders in the Pony Boy, and I said, isn't it improbable meeting together on this turn? I thought I was looking at improbable, and they said, well, this is actually Spielberg.
Okay.
And I said, oh, okay. And so I said, who's Spiel? I mean, sorry, sometimes I'm so in the barn, I don't pay attention to what's going on. So I'm like, who's this Spielberg? And so when I see he's in this race today, I said, I was surprised that was a 2-year-old number one. And then a couple of days ago, I saw Jack Sisterson leading his horse to the track, and I thought, well, looks like an older horse as well. And then again, I see its notable exception. So these two horses on a physical stand out dramatically in terms of how they're built, their physique, how they kind of conduct themselves on a racetrack. The rest of the field, I mean, when I looked at the race, I would agree with Ren that John Sheriffs isn't necessarily known for 2-year-olds, but this horse definitely looks like he got the route last time, and he'll probably stretch out even better this time. It'll be curious to see how blinkers work with him. And I have personally not seen that horse in the morning, but the other two I saw this weekend, they're both pretty outstanding individuals. Yeah. And then you asked me, I guess, to elaborate on Breeders' Cup. It's quite an amazing feeling. I had once in New York, I had a filly that I qualified for the Breeders' Cup, and the owner and I just thought two different ways. I thought to go, they thought to stay, and we didn't go. And it was a maiden filly I ran as a maiden in the Miss Grillo, and we were 50-1 in that race. And the only filly that beat us was Lady Eli. And so I said, we need to go, and we didn't go. And, I was asked if I could guarantee first, second, or third. I said, I can't. On paper, we're fourth, and 2 scratches from the race. And after the race, Ahmed Zayat called me and says we should have shipped. So I can only tell you the amazing feeling it is to have a horse of that caliber standing in a stall. It's just, they're rare to come by. And, it's always a trainer's dream to be able to have a horse going towards the Breeders' Cup. I mean, I love the Derby. Don't get me wrong. But for me, being on the world stage at the Breeders' Cup is probably a lot bigger in my book to be able to enjoy that type of experience.
Mike, I see that Bram has polished off his bottle of bourbon that was about a quarter full when we started the show. Oh, there it is. It's still in the glass. Bram, you gotta be happy to hear that Mike thought both Notable Exception for Jack Sisterson and Spielberg for Baffert were both older horses. That's how big and good they looked in the morning.
I mean, look at this score right here loading in the gate.
Maybe I should have bet them because I didn't, Dan.
Well, we got them on our ticket. We have them on our ticket. By the way, we also have Rombauer, who's my play of the day.
That's what I love him.
Yeah, so I love Rombauer, the 2-horse, and Wasprint, the other one we've talked about.
The 4 does look like a 3-year-old.
For the record, I like Notable Exception a lot here. Add one thing Ren said: the only other foal of the dam won the Cherbourg Stakes in 2018.
Yes.
Yeah. Sean, you gave us some thoughts earlier when you were running through our pick 5. Any last thoughts here before they spring the gates here in the American Pharoah?
Yeah, I mean, I love the 4 as well, Notable Exception. So let's get 2, 4, 8 home and be defensive with the 5.
All right, let's watch it.
In the American Pharoah. Get Her Number is
I did like that
quick.
start.
Dynamite has speed, and so does Spielberg in between them. Wasprint a close-up 4th. Notable Exception wasn't quick out of there and is now headstrong going after the leaders into the first turn. Touchdown Brown is second to last, and Rombauer is at the back of the field. Dynamite shows the way, leads it by a length. Get Her Number is in second. Spielberg settles down at the rail, and Notable Exception is just outside of him, 2.5 lengths off the lead, 5.5 furlongs from home. Wasprint in the clear on the outside, has 4 lengths to make up, then Touchdown Brown and Rombauer. Down the back stretch they go. The long shot Dynamite, 3/4 of a length. Get Her Number in second. Spielberg is down at the rail. Then Notable Exception 4th, 3 lengths off the lead. Wasprint, Touchdown Brown, and Rombauer. Not much change. Dynamite has been the speed throughout, prompted by Get Her Number in second. Notable exception is in between horses. Wasprint making steady progress on the outside. He and Spielberg are moving together. As notable exception now bows out. Rombauer, white cap, circling the field on the outside, putting in a dangerous bid. As Get Her Number has the lead. Touchdown Brown is second to last. They turn for home. Get Her Number and Rombauer go on with it. These two arrive at the top of the stretch. 1-2 and Get Her Number starts on the front end.
Come on,
Chased
Rombauer.
intently by Rombauer. 3 lengths back to Spielberg in third. A 16th to go. Flavien Prat imploring Get Her Number to finish the job, and he is going to do it. It's Get Her Number to win the American Pharoah. Rombauer a solid second. Spielberg was third. Wasprint was fourth.
Well, we all looked right at the quarter pole.
Yeah. Dialed in. That's a son of dialed in. I've dialed in shoes on my wall over here. That didn't go how I was hoping, but congratulations to the connections. I'm gonna lick my words for a minute.
Oh man, yeah, I was single to Rombauer in all tickets, and then obviously we had Rombauer on our group ticket, so that kind of stunk for us.
That was a great pick, Dan. I mean, notable exception. I don't know if it makes a difference or not. I just saw. I mean, obviously, we all just saw the race just the one time. The start was awful. I mean, that might be a little bit of hyperbole, but it was not good. It was not a good start.
Well, this is the place for hyperbole. I mean, let's be honest.
Dan, I was all over this. I wish I had time to talk about this. I was all over this race.
Did you like the 6?
I have the exacta. I never liked Spielberg in this race at all. I never liked Spielberg. I thought that was a bad number. I mean, I'm not going to bet 4 to 5 anyway, but like that horse is a front runner who doesn't finish. And this is a longer distance. I never liked him in this race. Yeah. Notable exception to me was a total wild card. He'd run once and he won easily. It's so hard to know. I thought it was so hard to know. So that one felt like a total wild card. I loved Rombauer here. Bad starts in his first 2 races. Watch out if he gets a better start and he's got a better rider. I loved him in this race. Get Her Number, same thing. Like ran 2 races on turf. What if he had his best race in him? And he did. You know, I loved it. This was the value race of the day for me. Of the 4 that we're going to talk about, it was the value race of the day, and it came through.
Yeah. Congrats on the exact. It'll be nice. 8-1 over 11-1. Rombauer, in addition to everything you mentioned, found a stat in doing some searches. Michael McCarthy, the trainer of Rombauer, the past 5 years going turf to dirt with 2-year-olds, 8 wins in 13 starts. 8 wins in 13 starts. Process that. That's almost impossible. Like 62% going turf to dirt with 2-year-olds. So he knows what he's doing when he moves them over to the dirt as a 2-year-old. And 10 of those horses finished in the money. So he's now 11 for 14 in the money going turf to dirt with 2-year-olds. The ROI is out of this world. Was good
on that horse too. Pratt's riding, Barber's the owner, Miller's the trainer. I mean that's a value play. 8-1 on a horse like that. You get in a race like this, and like this was a total value race. Like, I mean, you had to go against Spielberg and Baffert, and clearly, like to Mike's point, like if you just look at him, you're like, wow, like look at that horse. Yeah. But if you just look at the finishes he had in his first 2 races, him stretching out at all did not feel like the right play for me. So I was happily going against even money against him today.
And surprisingly, Get Her Number was 7-2 on the morning line, drifted way up. So really took no money. Yep.
It was just really interesting in terms of strategy. I mean, Dynamite, only time he stretched out, which was on turf, and the race run by Rombauer, decided to go. Spielberg, who you would thought was stretching out to 2 turns, would be on the lead, and Saez took a hold. So Get Her Number went back to his debut, which was a sprint, of course, and rated off the pace and won. It's also really intriguing that the 1st, 2nd, and 4th place finishers are the only horses in the race that had run a mile last time out. Granted, the Get Her Number Rombauer on grass. It goes to say a lot about experience. I mean, hindsight's 20/20, but the experience of those 2-turn races really helped those 2, and it didn't benefit anybody else.
Well, what are we seeing here? Jocks off. Mike, you're the trainer. Was that just some sort of small adjustment they had to make, or they're taking the what's going on here exactly?
Well, I mean, I think in terms of our protocols still, I mean, it's kind of weird to unsaddle before a photo, but I think basically when we run, we have to unsaddle on the track, and the jock goes back to the jock's room. I'm not quite sure what they're doing here in a Stakes race, and I didn't pay attention to the races earlier on the card in terms of what happened afterwards. But this has been normal protocol for us, where the jock's on saddle with no valet. We were just received a text today where, as trainers, we're now allowed to be on the track when the jock unsaddles. Whereas before it was only them and the groom and the hot walker of the horse being allowed to be near each other. So it could just be protocol in terms of what we're doing nowadays in California, because we're still pretty strict in Los Angeles County on coronavirus and some of the restrictions around that.
Okay, well, congrats to the team behind Get Her Number. Of course,
and I want to say also congrats to my friends at Darby Dan Farm who stand dialed in.
Yep. With that win, Get Her Number is headed to the TVG Breeders' Cup Juvenile presented by the TAA on November 6th. Entry fees, award to nominator, all the good stuff from Breeders' Cup go into team Get Her Number. So best of luck to
Stars Friday.
Yeah. All right. So let's see. We have.
The only thing that really stings about this, though, from a personal.
Go ahead, vent.
It's the fact that we had Mucho Unusual to take the first leg, so we already took down a favorite, and so the fact, if your two had got there, are you kidding me? Never mind.
So I have a question since I came in late. Is Ren hitting the bourbon like Bram is?
No, I'm dry right now.
Not yet.
We're about to add a seventh member to this stream. Very
good, Dan. That sounds great.
It sounds great, doesn't it?
Member.
Well, no, we've got 20 minutes until the next race, which is the John Henry Turf Championship, and it is actually the only race today that is not a win in your in race for the Breeders' Cup. So give us some more time to chat with a name that you may be very familiar with and a person you may be familiar with, Jill Byrne.
Hi, Jill.
Jill, how are you?
I am great. How's everybody? I hope you can hear me okay.
You sound perfect.
All right. Here at the home studio. I think we're all used to the home studios now.
So, Dan,
you're the nicest one of all of us, though, Jill. It's like not even close.
I don't know. Yeah, I haven't really gone into set decoration, but.
Well, people should be very excited because we're going to be able to reflect some more on the horse who is the namesake of today's big win in urine race for the Breeders' Cup Classic, the Awesome Again Stakes. A horse you know very well on a very personal level.
Yeah, and I got to listen to Pat Day take us through the Breeders' Cup Classic on your show just a few minutes ago, and reliving that race and listening to Pat, of course, getting goosebumps again, just watching that. But so much went into that, and what an incredible horse Awesome Again was, and now retired at stud. And to me, not only just being a fantastic racehorse, but what he did afterwards as a stallion. As they say at Adina, he built the place, and he certainly did. But I always feel he got robbed in 1998 of Horse of the Year with an undefeated year. And I know, a lot of people were voting with their hearts with Skip Away, since he lost to another horse I know a lot about the year before called Favorite Trick.
That's right.
I have a little connection with as well. But, that race, every time you watch it, and, my dear friend, our dear departed John Asher, he will always have said that is the greatest field ever assembled in that 1998 Breeders' Cup Classic. When you look at those horses, you hear that race call and hear those names, and you're just like, oh my gosh. I mean, those horses were incredible, and that field was just amazing. But there are a lot of stories behind that race and that entire year that involve Little Awesome Again.
Well, feel free to share.
Well, it was funny because as Pat Day mentioned, he didn't ride him in his first race. And for us, anyway, the first race off a long layoff, and that was Shane Sellers picked up the mount, and it was an allowance race at Churchill. And then for the Stephen Foster, he was weighted in the handicap race very lightly for the Stephen Foster. So, Pat Day was a natural lightweight. And so Pat basically picked up the mount on him for Patrick Byrne. And Patrick, had always said that he really felt Pat Day would suit this horse so well, because Awesome Again was a very difficult horse to be around. He wasn't, Mr. Warm and fuzzy and cuddly kind of horse. He was very cranky. he wouldn't run until he was ready to run. So what more perfect rider could you have for a horse like that than patient Pat Day, quiet his hands, and just sat up there and didn't get into a fight with Awesome, and let him go when he was ready to go. If you had seen the a little further in the run out of the Breeders' Cup Classic, when he's petting him on the neck, about the third time he pets him on the neck, he pins his ears flat back at Pat. He's like, look, I'm done. But he was a character, but not the warm, fuzzy one that Touch Gold, his stablemate, was at the time.
Well, it is remarkable just what he accomplished, not only in that undefeated 1998 season, but as you said, what he went to go on to do at stud. He was the first Breeders' Cup Classic champion to sire another one, being Ghost Zapper in 2004. And for a long time, he was the only Classic champion to have sired a champion. We just recently saw Curlin's Vino Rosso win last year. But also, I thought it was so great, too, because a former winner of the Awesome Again in 2018, Accelerate, is out of an Awesome Again mare, and he went on to win the Classic as well.
Yeah, and of course, Game on Dude. Awesome Again. It's a very, very long list of superstars that he sired, whether as a sire, as the broodmare sire. He himself, an incredible pedigree as well, deputy minister. A half, I think, too, who was at City Zip, all those horses. So, just a great pedigree there. Macho Uno, I think a half brother too. But, just a real character of a horse. And that year, the Breeders' Cup Classic, all the buildup to that Breeders' Cup was the showdown between, as they build it, the two grays, Skip Away and Silver Charm. And if you all remember, I don't know, Dan, I know Ellis will probably remember that the Baffert and Sonny Hine, that the media really made a big deal about Baffert and Sonny Hine, that these two didn't get along. So all the attention was on Skip Away and Silver Charm. And I remember Patrick Byrne saying one day to the media, he's like, it's all about the two grays. Don't forget about the two bays, meaning Awesome Again and stablemate Touch Gold. And, it was, Touch Gold was such a good horse himself, and Pat Day was riding him too. And Pat Byrne had to finally tell Pat Day couldn't choose which one to ride in the Classic. And finally, Pat Byrne made the decision for him and said, Pat, you're undefeated on Awesome Again. Chris McCarron's open, who won the Belmont on Touch Gold. So you're riding Awesome Again, and Chris McCarron's riding Touch Gold. And that came down to the wire.
It's interesting, Jill. One thing you mentioned about kind of finding jockeys that match a horse's temperament reminds me actually of a video that Mike Wilson did for us this week on ABR, talking about that. You got this all this emphasis on the physical, the physical ability of a horse and training a horse physically, but then also trying to get them into the right space mentally. So as a related note to that, Mike, I wonder when you're training horses and you look at your horse and you think about race day, is it one of those things that you spend a lot of time on? I know most trainers obviously have jockeys they like to go to, and maybe a couple of trainers they go to, but how much thought do you put into that on a regular basis nowadays?
Typically quite a bit. It depends on the horse. And I mean, as Jill, talked about with a horse like Awesome Again, I mean, when you have a horse that has a certain type of temperament that's not necessarily the easiest to get along, you have to put a lot of thought into it. There's other horses that you don't need to put as much thought in terms of what type of rider you put on them. It's more what type of rider fits that horse's running style. But there are certain horses that you need to figure out what type of rider that rider is going to like. That little filly that I mentioned earlier, Margaret Ray, that I ran in that Miss Grillo, and she was a filly that was so difficult to train that every day I had to figure out how she was feeling and then decide what we were going to do with her based on that. If she was cranky, she'd jog. If she was feeling happy, she'd gallop. If she was, really excited, she'd breeze. And she was very partial to female riders, hated male riders. And I had to kind of audition several jockeys just to figure out who would get along with her. And the only one was Luis Saez. And you saw in the Miss Grillo, she only got beat by Lady Eli. I ran her back in another stake, and she had Jose Lascano on. She didn't run for him. And then when Zayat and I parted ways, she went to Tom Proctor, and I ran into Tom years later. I said, "How was that filly trained?" And he said, "Well, she just didn't want to do certain things." I said, "Well, you kind of had to figure out what she wanted to do and let her. Basically, the trick that I say to training horses is to get them to do what you want them to do without them knowing. And so it's a balance between. There's a lot of different balance points of it, but yeah, riders are huge on certain horses and for certain horses. And I personally wasn't around Awesome Again, so Joe could probably talk more about those types of things. But you'll get horses that they won't run at all if they're not happy with who's on their back.
No, you're right. And when you talk about like riders too, and that goes for the morning as well, and exercise riders, and Awesome Again had a great exercise rider in Louise Hatfield, a girl who just got along with him so well, never tried to, get into an argument or, kind of make him do something he didn't want to do because, he could be extremely difficult and cranky, but she just got along with him from day one and was always his rider. So it's a lot that goes into the matchup, I think, of certain horses. As you mentioned, others, anybody could probably get along with them, but the good ones are good, but they also sometimes have their idiosyncrasies. Now, Favorite Trick is just the opposite. Anybody could have ridden, and that's nothing in Pat Day because he rode him beautifully. But he was the horse that just had the greatest temperament. My daughter, I think Devin at the time, was probably 8 years old, and she used to go and sit in the stall with this 2-year-old colt just loose when he was in the stall. She would sit there and play with him, and he would never bother her. But so he was more of the kind that anybody could get along with. But I don't think people quite understand how difficult a job. I know, Mike, you understand training horses is. It's not just going around and running around in circles. There's a lot that goes into it. And I had talked to Ren the other day, and I told her just a quick story with this. And Mike, you can appreciate this as well. The morning of the Breeders' Cup, we always trained Awesome Again the day that he ran just to get him out and stretch his legs. So the morning of the Breeders' Cup, no different, getting ready to send him out to the track just for a jog and gallop. And he pulls out of the stall and he's walking on 3 legs. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what has happened? So we stop, put him back in the stall, and the groom takes another look. Well, when he was turning to come out of the stall, he bent a shoe and sprung his hind shoe. So he was standing up on, one heel off and one heel on, but your heart just falls to the ground. Like, what could possibly have happened in a matter of, minutes? But luckily that was all it was. And on he went.
Do you remember when you were told that they were going to be naming a race in his honor?
I don't really remember, when Santa Anita was making a lot of changes in race names at the time, but, it was just an obvious choice to put Awesome Again. Of course, being Frank Stronach and Adina Springs owning Awesome Again, it was, a logical choice that they should have a race name for him somewhere. And, it's not just his racing talent, but, what he has done, the legacy he's left as a sire. And, he had some other funny little quirks. He was a cribber. And a lot of people, think, oh, cribbers aren't but he was a cribber, and, he was just quite the character to be around. I saw him at Adina. It's probably been about 6-7 years ago now. So I need to go see him in retirement for sure and go say hi.
Wow. Yeah. 14. I'm looking at their website right now, just the way I've got the stats correct. 14 Grade 1 winners, including 2019's Belmont Stakes hero, Sir Winston, sire of 13 millionaires, 4 Breeders' Cup champions, and 5 multi-millionaires. It's an incredible legacy. And going back though, another fun anecdote we talked about on the phone in the pregame was I had to ask you, just, with all the noise that Quiz the Law has made this season, and we're going to be looking at him pointing out to the Breeders' Cup Classic, skipping the Preakness, I asked if you felt a deeper connection to him also by virtue of the fact that he is from the same family as Favorite Trick.
Yeah, obviously anything to do. Favorite Trick was just such a special horse. And, having been involved with 3 Breeders' Cup winners, I'm so fortunate to have been a part of their careers and, going into those races and experiencing those Breeders' Cup wins with Favorite Trick, Countess Diana, Awesome Again. But yeah, Favorite Trick, it was so unfortunate that he, passed away at an early age, as he did when he was just off to his sire stats. I think he had sired a quarter horse champion before he passed away. So yeah, I always have a soft spot for a favorite trick, and our daughter Devin was very close to, as she nicknamed him, Baby Bull, because he looked like a little baby bull when he was little. So always a soft spot for a favorite trick, and watching the American Pharoah, which prepped for the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, and I also I love the 2-year-old races. And Ellis, I know you're a big fan of the 2-year-olds as well, so I really follow the 2-year-olds a lot closer than anything, because looking forward to next year's Derby contenders, or Oaks contenders, and Princess Noor. She was pretty exciting to watch earlier. She's something else. The American Pharoah, I just watched him. I don't know. I'm not convinced that I saw a Breeders' Cup winner there, but hey,
A little confused about that.
They can only run against who they run against, or who they win. But that's what makes it horse racing, and the lead up to the Breeders' Cup is so much fun. I love the Breeders' Cup. I love these win and you're in races, and the whole just progression, and you all doing such an incredible job now, bringing this to everybody on a weekly basis, daily basis, so much more for people to see, in the lead up to the Breeders' Cup. So between you all, between Breeders' Cup Group, has really made a lot of content and interaction available for people, which is so important this year since we've all been robbed of so much of the live action. But really looking forward to the next few weeks, and of course Breeders' Cup back in Keeneland.
Well, we have a lot to say. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Can I ask you an industry question? You're vice president of racing operations at Colonial Downs, which is semi-local to me. I'm in the DC area, which is not too far away from us. And you went.
I think I just lost you there.
Yeah, you went. Can you hear me now?
I think Jill froze.
Yeah,
Jill froze. Jill doesn't want an industry question, and we won't ask her.
Well, we're waiting for her to come back before you ask that question. I mean, we have a lot to thank Jill for in this industry, just like you're talking about how right now what she's doing with Colonial Downs. But I mean, her work, with TVG, her work with Breeders' Cup, her work with Churchill Downs. I mean, we have a lot to credit Jill with for bringing us amazing racing content year after year.
While we wait for her to come back, and I'm sure she'll try logging back in here in a second, let me kick it over to Sean here to get into this John Henry Turf Championship. Unfortunately, we're out of our pick 5. I know a couple of us liked a few prices. The headliner, though, of course, is the 3 United, who always seems to get up just in time, except last out when he was beat to it by Red King. But Sean, how do you see this race shaping up?
Yeah, I mean, obviously United is the horse to beat. If he runs his race, you get Flavian on top. Red King was able to get up that last time, but I believe that we were on air for that. I think that was when we hit that pick 5.
We did.
That middle move was kind of that deciding factor, as Billy let us hear about it 4 or 5 times later that afternoon. But we don't really have that in this kind of race. I did lean a little bit towards a price like Proud Pedro, who is going to be, I think, sitting just a little bit behind United. I just don't see how Originaire is going to turn the tables on United. If you look back in the running lines, you constantly see United, even if United didn't win, just finishing ahead of Originaire, and didn't really see a pace scenario with that. And then my next one was Next Shares. I just think is going to be too far back and left with too much to do. So that kind of leads me on the price play, which is the 5. And I'll leave it to Ren because I believe that was her play to talk about that one.
I just want to mention Jill is back on the stream. Jill, welcome back to the stream. Also adding Los Ponies, Jose Contreras joining us now, way down at the bottom of your stream there. Before we move on to any more analysis of this race, and we'll get back to it in a moment, Bram, you had a question for Jill.
Yeah,
yep, I lost you at industry.
You're the vice president of racing operations at Colonial Downs, which is semi-local to me. I'm in the DC area, so you're only a couple hours away. And it had been, a number of years since Colonial Downs raced. You came back in 2019, and then here comes 2020. I'm curious if you kind of, as you look ahead to 2021, and hopefully we get everything back to normal at some point, what were the lessons learned within the industry as you kind of look ahead to the future of the sport?
Well, 2019 went so well. First year back and under new ownership, and the just whole new scene in Virginia. So everything went really well. We had great weather. $500,000 a day in purses, and it was a successful comeback. And then 2020 hits, and everything goes wrong between COVID and then the worst weather scenario, and it's still happening. We had 21 inches of rain in like less than 2 weeks. We had 15 inches of rain, I think, in 72 hours from hurricanes. We had heat waves. We had power outages. It was just like, you name it, everything that went wrong. I think we had a locust invasion. So, yeah, it was just, I just want to write 2020 off and let's get us back on the ship for 2021, hopefully for everybody. But yeah, I'm already working very hard on 2021, preparing for the race meet. And, it's just, we got to hope that within the industry, things get back on track with the COVID pandemic. But, as far as industry wide, I mean, I'm involved with the Mid-Atlantic Thoroughbred, the group there, the Mid-Atlantic region, as Colonial is, we're all involved in that together. And I've really noticed in the last 2 years, that group working very closely together to try to get everybody on the same page, the same kind of rules and regulations. And so that's a great group working together. I mean, you see all these groups in the industry. I know some people tend to, want to make a little fun about how, we have so many groups. Is anything really happening? Well, I really think there is. And it is a time where people just have to come together, all the organizations in this industry, and realize where we stand and what we need to do to keep up with the Joneses, and the Joneses are the other sports. And we had a great opportunity while everything else was shut down and racing was the only live action out there. And hopefully that has garnered some new fans and new attention, and also made people see things that we need to change, adjustments we need to make. And obviously, the push towards ADW wagering, and that's not going to change even if we do get to bring fans back to the track. I think the recognition of how important that is, and things like this, what you all are doing is getting that information out to a broader audience. We have to get our product out to a broader audience, not just, the in-house people who we're already fans. We love it. That's why we're here doing it. That's why we work 7 days a week, 365 days a year, because we love this industry. But we have to make sure we get that message pushed out, and much more nationally, on how incredible this sport is. And you can wager on it legally.
I know, yeah. When you dropped out, that's what I was saying. I said, we racing fans have a huge credit to you for all you've done in pushing such amazing content throughout your career, whether it was with TVG, Churchill, Breeders' Cup, at Colonial. You've just been so important for us, and we thank you, Jill, for everything.
Well, thank you all, and good luck.
Oh no, you can stay still. You can stay.
Hey, what's the race?
We're off and running.
Yeah, we'll take the audio here. We'll be back and chatting in just a moment. Here we go.
And Salvatore Mundi is close up in third as they cross the dirt and get onto the main turf course. At the rail, Originaire is close up, only 2.5 lengths off United, who's going to be uncontested on the front end. United galloping along in front by 2. Salvatore Mundi is in second. Originaire tucked in at the rail, and Next Shares 3 wide. Another mystery is 4 lengths off United. Proud Pedro's second to last, and Oscar Dominguez. Flavien Prat has the favorite United, dictating his own terms this afternoon, leading by 3/4 of a length to Salvatore Mundi in second.
Got to be feeling pretty good about this.
Walking on the lead.
No pressure at all.
Nope.
49 flat.
He was training amazingly at Del Mar. I shared a barn with Richard and saw him every day.
By 1.5 to Salvatore Mundi. Next Share still in third.
No excuses here.
Time on the fence, just 2.5 lengths off the lead. Another mystery is just outside of him. Proud Pedro and Oscar Dominguez have been together throughout. United in charge, 1.5 lengths. Salvatore Mundi, Next Shares, Originaire. These 4 have been going this way throughout. Another mystery is asked to pick it up in 5th, has 4 to make up. Oscar Dominguez passes Proud Pedro with 1/4 mile to go. It's been all United. Originaire, Red Capel on the inside, is coming to chase him now. A furlong left to go. United lets it out a notch. Originaire chasing with determination. On the extreme outside, Oscar Dominguez and Next Shares. United 2-length lead close to home, and it's going to be United dominating. in front-running fashion to win the John Henry Turf Championship.
He's such a cool horse.
Yeah, I mean, like we were on the air when he lost in the Del Mar Handicap, and it took an extraordinary move in that race to knock him off.
Totally
Like,
right.
this wasn't the last race where there was a heavy favorite. He felt like the real deal. That number was right on him.
There's
and I'm not surprised at all by that he front run and they couldn't catch him.
There's a saying I sometimes use called closer on the lead, with a horse that has a tremendous ability to get the last quarter in 24, 23 and change in a race that runs a mile and a quarter, mile and a half, to be on the lead. There's no passing a horse like that when you put a closer on the lead, because he's going to kick, and everybody else would have to outkick him twofold to get past him.
That race was over pretty early.
The money on this ticket was on the back end. You weren't beating United today. He's too good. He's too good.
We know that Jill Byrne has better things to do on a Saturday night. We also know Ellis.
No, she doesn't. I want to keep Jill if we can.
All right. Well, look. I mean,
I'm gonna leave you with this, and it's sort of about the industry, and of course my very long career in this is something Ren touched on. So with the broadcast side of everything I've done, being involved, growing up in this industry, and the racing side of it, and the backstretch and the stables, and from the backside to the front side, so many incredible memories and so many incredible people that I've been so lucky to work with. One of my most incredible moments in horse racing was four-wheel drive, winning last year's Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf Sprint, as now a racetrack operator, having a horse break its maiden in a stake at your track that's making a comeback in the industry, and then go on to win the Breeders' Cup. I was in the winner's circle because I always, I help Dora and I volunteer for the Breeders' Cup. And I'm in the winner's circle. I'm like, I own the horse. I was jumping up and down, and I was so excited that, it's this credibility and justification. So, every part of this industry is so deep in my heart and soul. And, I owe it everything to where I am. So I will fight for it constantly. And I'm lucky that, people like you all, this new generation coming along to keep fanning the flames for horse racing.
All right, Jill, before we let you go, quick pick.
Well, if you don't mind, I hope you will stick around so we can find out who you like in the Awesome again. But I know Ellis has dinner.
It's not. I didn't get the text yet, so I can wait.
Okay. Because I did ask.
Sorry, wait. I got it. Sorry. That darn mute button kills me.
Who you got, Joe? Maximum security? Who you got?
I didn't get text yet, so I want to hear what Jill says first.
Yeah, as we all know, I mean, Jill is a tremendous handicapper on top of everything else. So yes, I would love to have your insight. Who do you like in the Awesome again? Is Maximum Security just too good a horse, or do you think there's an upset possibility with?
Well, I mean, I think, yes, he is the best horse in the race, aside from price and all of that. I really like the horse, and I hate that he's had such a bad rap over something that is not his responsibility. And when people, start being negative or blaming horses for other things that go on in the industry or that they're, a part of. So take the horse out of the equation, because the horse isn't guilty. And, he's such a great little horse and such a fighter. So I really like him. I think the race sets up a lot better for Improbable. And from what I've seen just in the races I've watched today, it looks like, speed is kind of dangerous. I know there's speed on the inside with Take the 101, but my heart goes with Maximum Security, because I love to watch this horse run. I think he deserves, everything good to happen for him for once. And but I'm just a little concerned about the way the race will set up. And obviously we don't like the price, but I can't control that.
All right. Well, look, Jill, thank you for spending some time with us tonight. We'll have you back again some other time if you're willing to join us.
Absolutely. Right. Love to. Breeders' Cup is my, one of my favorite times of the year, and it's just so exciting to lead up to it. So this, what you all are doing, Breeders' Cup Live, is so important, but even more important with the way that, we're all in a situation where we can't necessarily all be at the races all the time or even in the stable areas. So this is important.
Thank
We
you
appreciate
so
you,
much.
Jill.
This
Thank
is-
you.
Yeah, I feel like I've been able to hang out with friends.
I know, this is fun.
Yeah.
Maybe I should have had a glass of wine, while I'm sitting here. Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
Well, yeah.
All right, guys.
Cheers. Cheers to you.
Yeah. Bye.
All right, Ellis, we know you're also on the way out. Before you go, give us some thoughts on the Awesome Again Stakes.
All right. Well, I agree with Jill. I looked at it from a really pace perspective, and it's going to appear that Take the 101 will go, which we had, by the way, that our pick 5 was him. And I don't know that he's not going to go to the lead. I think he is. When you look at a horse like Sleepy Eyes Todd, you will think he's a wire-to-wire horse because that's how he won the Charlestown Classic. I actually liked him a lot that day, and I was very disappointed that he went from 5-1 to 5-2. All the race was running, but that happens with betting. It's horrible. He does not need the lead. He won the race at Remington last December from off the pace. He won at Canterbury from off the pace. I think Sleepy Eyes Todd an improbable sit, and I don't like max security, as we said. My play in the race is a win bet on Sleepy Eyes Todd and a 3-2 box. I have no interest in maximum security at all. So I'm going to go big or go home here.
Damn.
And I do want to ask, of course, I appreciate everybody's great effort in putting together that ticket, but I will say, if you singled United, you would have had more coverage.
Come on.
Go get dinner, Ellis. All right. I'm on Team Sean on this one. Go get the dinner.
Yeah.
Sean knows best.
It's a thankless task, Sean.
It really is.
I have no problem with Sean's ticket this week. I know that'll come as somewhat of a surprise to you.
By the way, did my crazy long shot, which actually wasn't very crazy, the 4 horse, did he get second or third?
I think he finished third.
Okay.
Third.
Not bad. Yeah,
third.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Another mystery.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, he ran a good race.
I like him, the Del Mar.
Where did he go off?
All right, Ellis. Enjoy dinner, man. We'll talk to you soon, all right?
Good luck the rest of the way, guys.
Thanks. Be well. All right, we haven't heard anything from Jose yet. Mike, you're still good to hang with us for a little bit? You watch the Awesome Again?
Oh, yeah. I'll hang with you guys for the Awesome Again.
Hang on. What's sleep to you anyway, right? What's a little bit of rest and downtime for a trainer, right?
I took a nap before I got on. Only 30 minutes today to try and make the.
All right, Jose, welcome in, man. Are you at Los Alamitos right now?
Just arrived at Los Al. We're about maybe 2.5 hours till post time here. So getting ready for tonight's program. But I was looking back, catching up on the pick 5. Did Flavian Pratt on the stakes race take us out of that pick 5? Was that?
Yep, that's exactly what happened.
Flavian Pratt on the stakes event takes us out.
Sean gets no love, man. Poor guy. He considered everything.
I want to reiterate, I'm on Team Sean this week, so
yes.
We're going to call Jose the hater. Jose and Ellis get hater status this week. I'm on Team Sean with the good ticket we came up with.
No, I'm on Team Sean as well because I was vouching for Pedro there and John Hurry. So
there's no pace. I mean, yeah, he had no shot there. But yeah, no, Proud Pedro I think was a good use on the ticket if there was some pace, but anyhow, that didn't play out. But look, at this point, we got to try to salvage. We could sit it out, but that's not our style. We're probably going to bet this race in some form, even if it's playing like just a straight try or something like that. There's got to be a way to bet the Awesome Again, and you could take a stand like Ellis.
I'm not standing against maximum security. I'm sorry. I'm with Jill in terms of I think he's that good a horse. This is a horse I think people have been skeptical of for, certain reasons. I think this horse has proven enough that his talent is legitimate. And it's crazy to think on top of it, he's such a great story. It's crazy to think somebody could have claimed this horse for $16,000 on debut. That is nuts. That is absolutely nuts. What has he made so far? $12,191,000. He's going to for $16K on debut. And another reason why that is such a great story is because we always hear these things of, horse racing, sport of kings. And the little guy can't get involved, whatever. Again, look at that. You could have got him for $16,000.
Ren is hyped.
Yeah.
Oh my God, Jose, wait. Let's time out on everything because we haven't even gotten through the Awesome Again, and this comment has already come in.
I got all the selections coming. Just stay tuned, Mr. Max. We'll get to it. We'll get
Your
to it.
dad doing modeling now, Dan? That looks like a fashion.
It is a bit of a vanity little profile shot. There it is.
That
All
is.
right, Jose, give us your take on the Awesome Again.
This is a very interesting race because it appears like every horse in this race has somewhat of a similar style. They can all go to the lead, or they can all stalk, or they can kind of maybe take a little bit of a step backwards. This is what is making this race very, very interesting to me. Maximum Security, hard to knock him based on what he's accomplished already to this far. Improbable, his main dilemma has always been through his career being fractious in the gate, the antics before the race. As far as if he settles down and he runs his race, he's a legitimate grade 1, grade 2 horse. But it's always been about how is he going to behave in the gate, leading up in the parade, all of that. It seems like he's getting better, back-to-back strong wins. But I come back to the races that Midcourt has run over this track.
That's the word you use.
It feels like this is the track where he runs his best races.
Mm-hmm.
And now that there's different styles to kind of pressure Maximum Security, or actually make Maximum Security work a little bit more in this kind of scenario, I'm leaning towards Midcourt, and I'm loving the price right now on the board. He's only 6-1 on the board on the morning line, but I think he's going to be a very good price come
right
post
now.
time here.
18-1. Yep.
Yeah. He runs his best races over this track. I like how he's looked here. And I think right now the compromise is going to be a Maximum Security, because there's other horses that are going to kind of make it interesting as far as how the race is going to shape up. So I'm a Midcourt at a price here in the Awesome Again.
Let me interpret. Wait, Bram, don't say anything, Bram. Let me interpret Bram's reaction. Bram is giving you the why are we overthinking this? Maximum Security is going to win look.
I'm giving you the Midcourt doesn't win, but yes, I think Midcourt. I think when all the rest of the pace falls away, Maximum Security is just that classier, that much better of a horse that he holds through it, goes on with it, but Midcourt picks up those pieces of the horses that couldn't go on.
All right,
wait, all right,
Bram.
I love him at 18-1 to show. I love him at 18-1 to show. That's where I love him. Right? But he's not winning, and I will bet you tacos on this. West Coast. He is not winning the race.
Shake.
Stop 3 ridiculous. This is a 2-horse race.
You got a deal.
We all know that. It's a 2-horse race. Either Maximum Security is winning, or if he is just off a little bit, Improbable is winning, and that's it. Okay? Period.
Bram, you can actually now shake on that deal with Jose. You guys are right next to it. You can shake. Wait, the other hand. Yeah, there you go. The other hand.
The other way. There you go.
All right. Sean, and then Mike. Sean, what do you say? Who's off base here?
I don't see Midcourt. I'm not seeing that one. I understand what Jose's. I completely understand what Jose's saying. I do believe that Midcourt's best races are at Santa Anita. I completely agree with him on the pace scenario. The reason I lean towards, especially on a race by race basis, if I'm playing the exact or trifecta, I'm playing Improbable on top. My other thing with Maximum Security, especially coming from the Saudi Cup, going to the San Diego Handicap, I believe we were on air for that when Abel swung out wide. It was a really gutsy, really kind of dug in effort. Didn't have that last time out. I'm still, maybe it's going to bite me. Obviously we did use Maximum Security defensively on a pick 5, but if I'm playing an exacta or even a daily double here, I'm just going to single Improbable and kind of hope for that, the punch in the holes and see if this campaign takes a little bit out of him. And also, Baffert's a Hall of Fame type of trainer for a reason. This is not the end goal. The Breeders' Cup Classic's the next race, and Improbable's in this race. I'm seeing kind of writing on the wall that maybe this is another time when we see the other Baffert.
Yes.
I like it.
100%. The play is Improbable over the other 4. That is the play here, and then you might get lucky and get someone in second.
It's taking everything Ren has not to like burst out and just go nuts right now about this. I want to go to Mike. Mike, what Sean just said really gets into the mind of a trainer, right?
Team Sean. #Team Sean.
Mike, If you had Maximum Security right now, is it like we always talk about, like, oh, this horse can't be cranked up for this? Obviously, the target is the Classic, and he's already in the Classic, this and that. I mean, does that stuff like play into, like, tell us how that plays into your training, and if you would have Maximum Security cranked up fully for this race, or you think you might be vulnerable here?
No, yeah. I mean, and I worked for Bob as an assistant, and, you know, he's got 2 goals usually, Breeders' Cup and Derby. And so, you know, if you've noticed over the years, he'll train a lot of horses into the Breeders' Cup and even skip the prep races. And so his goal is, and he's a master at it. I've never seen anybody better at peaking a horse on a given day than Baffert. That is the goal. And so if this is a workout that he just kind of breezes over the track and gets it done, you know, if you look at how he's split these 2 horses up and kind of, you know, took Improbable back east. The question, I know he loved that horse last year. I think obviously he realized Maximum Security is his ticket this year. And so, you know, if he can knock out a grade 1 with Improbable and run 1-2, it doesn't take anything off Maximum Security and then have him crank for the Breeders' Cup Classic. And so that's kind of how I look at it, just kind of understanding how he looks at races.
Wait, and the follow-up, if he's not fully cranked, does he still beat this field?
You know, the way Improbable ran last out, I don't know. I mean, to me, those 2 are the class horses on paper. But if Sleepy, I mean, I didn't even Sleepy Eyes Todd, I was just looking at him and saying, you know, this horse has put up some big numbers. And so, but us coming from Del Mar, I think a lot of the horses after training over that track, you come off that track pretty fit because that track is heavier and deeper. And so these horses, when we brought them up here, they've just been flying over the Santa Anita track. So these horses are both probably in a different class, and they might be a little bit fitter. And so I'm pretty much agreeing with Bram. It's a 2-horse race between those 2.
I'll give you the odds there. Sleepy Eyes Todd, by the way, who you mentioned, 10-1 right now. The 3-horse Improbable, who we've given a lot of love to. The 2-horse 7-5 right now. Maximum Security 3-5. Mid-court Jose's place 16-1. Take the 101. Obviously, reflecting in the odds here, lack of too much faith in him to break through here at 50-1.
Look, Dan, you could talk yourself into the Jets with 11.5 tomorrow if you really want to. If you really want to, you can do that. Okay? You're not going to win. So, you know, talk yourself out of it immediately and do yourself a favor. This is a 2-horse race.
I just wanted to hear out Jose. I thought he made a compelling case for mid-court. I mean, at 16-1, they made a compelling case.
All right, tell me. So we know Baffert has the top 2 here. Who goes, who stays, who sits between those 2? Obviously, they're not going to press each other, right?
I think he sends Improbable.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, Improbable, I would say seems most like. Max Security. Maybe this is one of those spots where it's like, look, again, if we can accept the premise that this is not a must-win crucial race for Maximum Security, he can sit off, which is slightly not his game, but he can sit off slightly. They let Improbable go, and in fact, maybe Maximum Security kind of sets up a little bit of a shield for Improbable, and Improbable runs loose. What do you think, Ren? You don't seem to like that.
Well, no. I'm just kind of thinking, like, okay, here's the deal. Like, I respect Improbable. I absolutely respect him. The thing is this: I just think Maximum Security is like a different type of animal, and I do think he's versatile. He could go to lead, he could sit back. It'll all depend upon the pace. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't think anybody's going to be like, you know what, we can't let this horse really win this race right now because we got to let Improbable get the win and you're in or whatever. They're going to run their race no matter what, okay? We're going to see what happens. But here's the thing that I think is also interesting about Improbable. Yeah, we're looking at, I mean, obviously those figures are impressive and, they're legitimate. But the other thing you have to remember in the Whitney Stakes, as we recall, Tom Picard stumbled out of that gate. We'll still never know what actually would have happened had the race been run with him fully in it. And Code of Honor was all washed out that day, remember? So you could almost say that Improbable kind of got away in the Whitney with that victory. And then, yes, it is true, by my standards, went out from there and put in a really nice performance next out. Winning, he went on to win the, what did he win? Gosh, what did he win? Oh, the Ali Shiva. Got 102 buyer by my standards. So, I mean, like I said, that's legitimate and everything, but I just think Maximum Security, this is a horse that when we first made a start for Bob in that San Diego, Bob was just, figuring this horse out. He'd been off for a while, and then the Pacific Classic, it was just so easy for him. And, it was almost like one of these, wow, okay, he won. And it was just, again, it was one of those facile victories that you want to see a big, I don't know, just wow factor thing. And it was a 3-length victory and 107 buyer he got for it. So now here we are. He's going to be cutting back, and he's going to be all the more fit for that effort in the Pacific Classic, going the 1.25 miles. So I just think, again, he's just a different animal. And midcourt, like I was saying, I just think he's a horse that if you're going to try to make any money in this race, you can't just do an exacta Maximum Security and probable. It's not even worth it. So
what about this Sleepy Eyes Top? What do you make? I mean, this horse has been on the lead his last few. I mean, maybe he's the one who gets the lead in probable, kind of rates just off of him. What do you make of that horse?
Well, no, definitely. I mean, speed looks to be his game here, especially the fact that the race prior, the Lone Star was a mile. And so then you stretch out to that 1.1 miles. It is pretty funny. If you look way back at there, he stood on the turf. He did go 1.5 miles, but he got the lead before fading. This is a horse, it's, I think, going to be a situation in which, especially in a field like this, his only chance is to go, but he's going to have to contend with take the 101 on the inside. I think they chew each other up, spit each other out, hook and cook.
Mm-hmm. Well, Ellis made it clear he liked that horse a little bit. Bram.
When Ellis went to dinner, Dan. Ellis went to dinner.
I was saying, eat dinner on air.
Who goes to dinner before the big race, Dan?
I know. I don't know. I don't know. Look, if you're watching this show, we've seen a couple people comment. You let us know who's going to win this race.
And what's with double booking? I'm sorry. Like, you double booked?
Yeah, not cool. Not cool at all. But Ellis, look, God bless him. Ellis will come through every once in a while with a price for us, so we're going to go easy on him. You're watching the show. We got a lot of people watching across all of our channels. Let us know right now in the comment section who's going to win this race. Is it Maximum Security? Are you on Team Ren and Team Maximum Security? Are you on Improbable, who's probably the consensus pick right now on the live stream? Are you on Midcourt, Team Los Ponies? Do you think Midcourt can pull a bit of an upset or at least finish in the top 2? Let us know what you think. Are you with Team Ellis, Team Dinner? Do you think Sleepy Eyes Todd can win?
Team Dinner. Nobody's on Team Dinner, Dan. Nobody's on Team Dinner.
Or are you on Team Nobody and you're going with the one horse, Take the 101? All right, we're going to pull the screen down so we can see everybody. Now we have comments coming in. We've got votes coming in for Maximum Security. Maximum Security is such an interesting. Jill touched on this a little bit.
Well, it's hard not to pick Maximum Security here. Come on. I mean, like, I'm going against it only because there's a horse that might beat him here. That's it. Like, that's the only reason I'm going against him.
He's so that horse. I mean, Mike, have you ever been around a horse who is so polarizing? Like, people love that horse.
I love him.
Or they just don't like him at all.
Yeah, I think it's been a unique situation because of what happened in the Derby last year and then the Jason Service stuff. So, I mean, have I been around a horse that polarizing? No, maybe one time, but not that polarizing. I mean, when I worked for Mandela, we had the Tin Man, and we knew we had the best turf horse in the country. And everybody would talk about English Channel, and everybody would talk about Cacique. And it was so gratifying when Richard took him over there, I believe, as an 8-year-old. No, 9. He was a 9-year-old when he won the Arlington Million. And so, that was kind of, at least, it's been funny being on both coasts. And the West Coast, we don't care about East Coast racing. On the East Coast, they disregard West Coast racing. And so that was kind of a fun West meets East in a big race. But I've never necessarily been around a situation as polarizing as this one with this horse.
Hey, Dan. I know the race is about to go off, but we did not unpack Pat Day blaming War Will for what happened in the Derby.
How about that?
What happened? He blamed War Will for what happened in the Derby. That was amazing.
That was actually really good stuff. I was like, let me just throw it out there, see what he says. He was not prepared for the question. God bless him. He still made his best effort to answer the question, but it really did seem like Pat Day thought that all of the trouble. And look, the more I watch that replay, and I've seen it a few times recently, War of Will is not without fault. Like, don't get me wrong. I think
full Zapruder film. He went full Zapruder film and was like, you need to see the video and you will see what I'm talking about.
I will say this, no matter how you look at that race, the one person, the one individual with completely no fault, I still maintain is Saez. The horse spooked. That was not in my opinion, as an equestrian, as a rider, as being able to see body language and how balance is being shifted and what's happening with the rein. That was a legitimate spook. Whatever then happened after it, completely up for debate with y'all. But that was a spook.
Whatever happened here, I will blame Jose.
Yes, exactly. I'll take the blame for this one.
Which is a drastic shift from Bram's normal course of blaming Sean.
Ooh, he's on Team Sean. He's on Team Sean today. Team Sean.
Sean, you made it quite clear. You think Improbable has the edge today. If you're going to bet this race straight up, if you're in the situation that we're in, all of our pick 5 and pick 4 tickets are dead. Do you have an exacta? Are you keeping Maximum Security out of your exacta, or is that just silly? Or do you just not bet this race? You just sit out?
I mean, the 2-5 exacta right now. If
forget the 2-5 exacta, just forget that. It has to be something else. Yeah, it has to be something
so
else.
I mean, I would.
Forget the probable outcome, Sean, and think about something else.
I would
put it this way. If you see it as a absolute 2-horse race, and you're getting your top choice at better than 1.5 to 1. Are you willing to just make a win bet at Improbable? What's the price you want to get?
Sense. Right,
what's
exactly.
The price? Because on paper, if you really look, if you're on the side that you like Improbable, you think it's a 2-horse race. If it's a match race, if you're getting almost 2 to 1 right now, 9 to 5, wouldn't you want to just make a win bet on Improbable if you like Improbable here?
Yeah, 8 to 5 in bet at all. What do you think, Sean?
Yeah, especially if, I mean, like we're saying, if you like Improbable on top and you really think, like I do, I mean, Maximum Security is the horse to beat. I really see it as kind of a 2-horse race. So, take the, keep it simple, take the second leg out. And like Jose said, just, straight win bet. That's, and it's not necessarily, I mean, I think it's the value because you're taking a little bit of risk out to make just a very small amount less than if you were to hit the exacta like Jose's saying.
Mike, I know you're not a bettor, but if we
my whole career is a gamble.
That's right. That is the trainers and the owners.
Yeah, if we were gonna like force you, like literally, like just push you to the betting window here, how would you bet this race?
Yeah, I mean,
you could just say I'd bet 50 to win on Improbable. Period. That's fine.
No. I mean, even though I probably like Improbable in terms of, I still think Maximum Security wins. I mean, if I was gonna bet, I'd do an exact Maximum Security Improbable.
Okay. All right. Here comes the race. Here. This is
Michael's a very smart man.
That he is. This is a win and you're in race, as you know, for the Longines Breeders' Cup Classic, which will be the feature event on Breeders' Cup weekend this year. So a lot at stake here. Maximum Security already in, Improbable. Those are horses you can expect to see for horses like
he's acting up. He's acting up in the gate.
And just remember this: the only race that
Jose,
when he stumbled out of the gate. He's crossed the wire first in every race, save for that one.
Jose is so ready for Maximum Security to lose. Here you go. Enjoy the race.
And the awesome again. Very smooth beginning. Sleepy Eyes Todd, but now Take the 101 sprints up to take the lead. Maximum Security comes away in third. Then Midcourt and Improbable will be last in the early going. Take the 101 narrowly in front. Sleepy Eyes Todd, Maximum Security 3
Who saw this
wide.
horse on the list?
Midcourt goes 4 wide into the first turn, has about 4 lengths to make up, and he's 2 in front of Improbable.
Who saw Improbable last?
Take the 101,
Wild.
The pace very sensible. He's in front by a length. Sleepy Eyes Todd is in second. Maximum Security racing in between horses, and Midcourt outside of that pair. 2.5 lengths covers those 4. It's another 5 back to Improbable, who's racing off the rail and by himself. Take the 101 leads the field to the half-mile pole in the awesome again. Maximum Security puts his head into second. Sleepy Eyes Todd, Midcourt keeping pace with that pair. Still another 4 back to Improbable. It's been a lonely lead for Take the 101. He controls the pace.
Mike, which horse do you wish was yours right now?
2.5 lengths now.
Say what?
Which horse do you wish was yours right now?
Maximum Security has work to do.
Improbables, I thought he was dead, but he's actually coming pretty good. I think the rest is going to crash, but he's, yeah.
Here he comes.
Take the 101.
Improbable finding
Here comes
his best
Improbable.
ride. He's starting to move in. Maximum Security will be in between them, but it's Improbable who has taken command with an authoritative run from last to first. What a star Improbable has turned into, as he is going to romp in the awesome again. Improbable and Drayden Van Dyke could not have been
That
more
was impressive.
That was very impressive. Okay, I can see this. You guys had it.
I told you, I loved mid-court at show. I loved them.
You were begging for midcourt to not pass maximum their deep stretch.
True.
Yeah. And
this was a classic. I was looking for a parlay here. Not only do I want him to hit the spread, I want him to hit the over. Not only did I want Improbable to win, I wanted somebody other than Maximum Security to not come in second, because then you tag. That's what I was looking for here. I got it. I'm pretty close. Pretty close.
I fully acknowledge I was wrong. I gotta say, turning for home, Max did not look good. Like it wasn't even that he just lost to a better horse. He didn't actually look good.
First of all, kudos to
absolutely. Yes.
No. Kudos to Sean. I mean, I think Sean pretty much laid this case out. I mean, as well as anyone could. Okay, Bram, you too. You get it. So you get a little bit of love. Come on, Bram. Let Sean have a little bit of love here.
Come on, Bram. Your team Sean today. Come on.
Yeah,
your team Bram today. You know, I said the same thing you did. That the play is Improbable over everybody, and he's going to win. Oh my God, I can't even take this. I have dinner now, Dan. Now that I know that. I have dinner.
No, you both get love, but Sean laid out like the argument pretty well about the whole being ready to run a peak race. And then even though Mike was like, look, even Maximum Security not at 100% could still win this race.
You twisted my arm. You scared me.
Even Mike sort of conceded like he's not going to be 100% for this race. Now, that being said, Ren, to give you credit, even at, let's say, 80% of what he is, he still pretty handily finished second in this race. And like,
why do you not want me to be right, Dan? I don't understand. Why do you want me to not be right? I don't get it.
I do want to add, I want to pick Michael's brain a little bit more about what but don't you agree the horse just didn't look good finishing, even though he got second?
No, he looked like he was hanging when he got to the quarter pole. And then, you know, it was interesting seeing Improbable take dirt in the face and him climbing down the backside.
Yeah.
For him to kind of decide to then still run through that and actually make the finish that he did. But when he started coming, I mean, it's interesting because Maximum Security looks like a horse. He's a fighter. He'll dig, but he dug and then he hung.
Yeah,
and,
exactly.
You know,
no, but I do want to say, again, congratulations to Improbable, Bob, and connections on that horse. FS Racing, China Horse Club, I believe, is involved. Windstar, of course. This is a horse that, again, like you all were saying earlier, they were so high on last year that they felt that this was their mini Justify. And so now he's actually showing them the talent that they always thought he had. Now, the thing that's really interesting that you have to think about is what we just saw with the different dimensions he showed today. Not only that, but the fact, again, what happened in the Whitney Stakes, like I said before, we did not get to see Tom Zata get to run, really, his race in the Whitney because he stumbled out of the gate, and yet he got up for third and not too far off. So it really makes it exciting to see the rematch of these two in the Longines Classic.
It does. This will be, it'll be interesting. There are, I mean, Improbable, what the movie made there, I mean, that was impressive. I mean, he's done it a couple of different ways now. He's done it on the lead. He's done it from off the pace. I mean, I can't even tell you how much money I lost on him last year. So I'm just, I still harbor some, I'm
resentment.
I don't want to say resentment.
You have a grudge.
I have, yeah, like now, and it's like I've missed. I was at all the funerals, and then like I've missed the past couple of weddings, and now it's like, will there be another one at the Breeders' Cup? You know, will there be now here the coronation of Improbable after I lost all this money on him last year? Maybe. I mean, I thought he was. Yeah, exactly. I mean, except Bodie Express, I still continue to bet on for some reason.
I know. Because you can't let him beat you now. That's why.
True. And watching him down the backstretch, his stride, it looked like he was kind of more like jumpy over the track. But once he made that move there around the far turn, I mean, he that was impressive. And no excuses for maximum security. He just looked like he was gassed. He didn't have that extra gear to go with.
Yeah.
But Improbable there was super, super impressive.
Oh, this is funny. Ellis said dinner was good.
How did he eat that fast? What did he do? Inhale it?
He did eat that.
Like unhinge his jaw like a snake and just.
I mean, with the amount of money we lost, he may have just eaten a Hot Pocket for dinner. That's why.
You know, he probably hit it on his own because he wanted a single Improbable.
He wanted the single.
Yeah. Jose, before we go, give us the Losal picks for my dad. So that
well, I left him with the winner last time out. So why don't we try to make it 2 for 2? So race 4 the 4. I'll make it easy. Race 4 the 4. Race 4 the 4. That's the best bet. And a little bit of a price. Race 3 the 5. So race 3 the 5. Race 4 the 4.
Alrighty. I hope you got.
I wrote them down. I'm in.
Crappy East Coast tacos, Jose. All right. So when we can travel again, which I don't know when that's going to be, I expect to receive crappy East Coast tacos.
Just make sure there's cheese on them.
I'll be serving them with cheese if you want with cheese. No cheese on this side though. No cheese.
I love my cheese. I'm sorry.
Mike, let people know how they could follow you. The video series that you're doing right now with ABR and everything else you got going on.
Yeah, no, I mean, I keep sharing and retweeting everything on my handle. So at Michael S.R. Wilson, both on Twitter, Instagram, and then Facebook. So, I'll be sharing everything that we're doing and continue to try and give as much in-depth and behind the scenes of how barns run. So, yeah, absolutely. Appreciate it.
Yeah, it was really great insight. I mean, I look, just listening to you, and again, it's, you're talking about Bob's Barn and having worked with him before in the past. I mean, that was really cool. That was just incredible insight before that race about how trainers prep their horses for races like this with bigger targets up ahead. And so I thought that was useful. If you were listening, I thought the insight that you provided was absolutely awesome. Sean, thank you again for everything. Bram says he's on your team. I'm not totally
Team Sean, hashtag Team Sean tonight.
Team Sean. We're team. They know Sean. They know we were on it today, and they weren't. And they know it. They know it.
Ren, you get the last word, and then we'll see everybody next week. Go ahead, Ren.
I don't think I deserve the last word.
You get the last word.
What do you want me to? Okay, everybody, it was an awesome show. How amazing to have all of you here with us. We've got actually Ella Starr saying to wish him luck because he's single to ingest in the pick 4.
As he is digesting.
Yes, as he is digesting. Also, I did see earlier somebody was asking about where is Tizela. I believe he's still in New York, getting in his final preparations toward the Longines Breeders' Cup Classic. So very exciting prospect there. And obviously now we know he's going to be going up against Improbable, who just put in a stellar performance in the Awesome Again. And it was an awesome show, action-packed, and with special guests like Pat Day, Hall of Fame jockey, and Jill Byrne, who has done so much for this industry in just every facet in which she's worked in it. And I'm just very thankful to have been part of the broadcast, and thanks to all you guys for making it so much fun.
I want Max Tordjman to ask me for my best bet player.